Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I say with every single video regarding American comic books, if you need a reason to stop reading American comic books and just walk away and admit that things are just never going to go back to how they were, or they're never going to get better, and that pretty much the entire industry, besides the independent scene, has been adopted by complete psychopaths, well, I have another reason for you. So apparently, Alan Scott, according to Fandom Pulse, we have an article here, but a headline that says Alan Scott shown to frequent homosexual prostitutes in new Tim Sheridan Green Lantern issue from DC Comics. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that you ever wanted to see in your Green Lantern comics, it was definitely to showcase the character visiting gay prostitutes. That's clearly what we need in DC Comics. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button, man. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So it says Tim Sheridan's Alan Scott Green Lantern has been disgusting since the first issue. It was so bad that Tim Sheridan posted a video to X urging readers to buy it to upset the independent rebellion in comics known as Comicsgate before its release. It came across as desperate and embarrassed DC Comics when sales were low on the first issue. In issue number 3, Tim Sheridan further destroys Alan Scott as Green Lantern in a way DC Comics can never reverse. Now, I did make a video on this when he actually posted to Twitter. Now it's X, but I remember making a video about this. He posted to Twitter, and it was really pathetic, man. He was literally trying to beg people to buy his comic book as some sort of like a stick it to the conservative kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, let's just own the conservative, because everybody who disagrees with someone like him is clearly a conservative and he can't be anything else. So I do think it's pretty damn pathetic that he did that, but then now we're just adding on to the fact that he's reminding everybody as to why you shouldn't have bought his book. It says Alan Scott is one of the golden age characters in DC Comics, took over, first appearing in All-American Comics number 6 in 1940. He was a very different origin from the Green Lantern most people know in the Silver Age, and wears a different costume. Over the years, DC Comics developed Alan Scott, even giving him a wife and kids. When they turned Alan Scott gay for a publicity stunt, DC Comics did so in the typical cowardly manner of a corporation that's trying to milk controversy but pretends they're doing so, and made this an alternate reality version of the character. In DC's Rebirth storyline, they finally took the original version. They had him come out of the closet to his wife and kids as gay, ruining his family life and destroying the character permanently. Now DC Comics is rewriting the character's origin with Tim Sheridan. Oh my god, man. Can you imagine? Can you? Look at this panel, man. Look at this panel. Like, can you seriously, man, imagine opening your comic book and just seeing this absolute sausage fest going on right now? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you just don't like it because it's gay. If it was a woman, you'd be perfectly fine. It's like, bro, it would have to make sense, first off, okay, number one. And number two, like, it's kind of fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, you're literally ruining the marriage of a character simply because you want to make him gay. It's just really, really odd to me. But again, this is just something that they like to do. They like to insert their identity politics into everything that they create. They can't create anything without having those check boxes ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, they have to have them checked off. So when they make these characters and they remake them like they're doing the re-origin story right now, they need to make sure that this Green Lantern is nothing like the one prior. They need to make sure it's completely separate. They need to make sure it's ultra gay. They need to make sure it's ultra progressive, and it has every single woke possible thing in it, so that people, when they read it, they get one or two reactions. Either they call it stunning and brave, or they think it's the most disgusting thing they've read since who knows what before. It says the first issue of the series was a full gay love letter to his homosexual partner, showing multiple pages of men without shirts on cuddling each other and implying sodomy. It ends issue number 1 by teasing that Alan Scott will receive electroshock therapy in number 2. The therapy didn't help matters, as Alan Scott is seen in issue number 3 trolling docks in search of homosexual hookers known as gigolos. Alan Scott shows familiarity with one of these gay hookers, where the gay hooker even has a pet name for him, which is Scotty. I just... These are American comic books now, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you have to read if you're not into manga or independent scene or whatever the case may be. It's really sad, man. It really is. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine just, I don't even know what to even imagine at this point. I really don't. You know, this is why, like with manga, at least there's different genres, right? Like you won't go into a certain genre of manga. You won't go into a certain kind of, let's say, shonen jump, and just all of a sudden the character just goes ultra gay, ultra progressive, constant messaging down your throat. If they do get a little sociological, if they do throw in a little bit of progressive politics, what they tend to do is make it very interesting to the story. They actually tie it all in to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I can kind of see that. I can see where that kind of fits into play. You know what I mean? And then nobody bats an eye. Nobody even cares. But with this stuff, it's so damn heavy-handed. It really is. It's unbelievably heavy-handed to the point where you don't feel like you're reading a comic. Like when I'm looking at this stuff, I don't feel like I'm reading a comic. I feel like I'm reading some sort of like graphic love novel. I really don't know. Like I just wouldn't expect to see this in a Green Lantern comic book. But then again, I don't care. You know, I don't read American comics. I haven't for a very, very long time, and I'm going to stick to that. But for those of you who are still fans of American comics, man, do I feel for you. I really, really, truthfully feel for you. It says Alan Scott replies to this by saying, yeah, I'm looking for someone, to which this other homosexual says, aren't we all? Implying both are familiar with trolling for gay prostitutes. But we either gotta be quick or head back to your place because the blues are out in force. This destruction of the Green Lantern hero has him familiar with quick, anonymous gay sex with prostitutes, turning Alan Scott into a criminal hedonist instead of the hero that he once was. It further goes on to imply that Alan Scott had sex with a dead homosexual prostitute when he was investigating these crimes. Perhaps even worse, DC Comics then brings in the Spectre, a character who talks to God and validates Alan Scott, who is in the moral right under Tim Sheridan's out-of-character writing. He notes Alan Scott's acts will be considered salacious but makes no judgment himself, which is against God's commandments for purity and nonsensical for this character. Alan, you love them, the Spectre says, lying about his hedonistic acts with gay prostitutes in complete contradiction to how the character should act as a spirit of vengeance, working for the Almighty. The Spectre also then wrongfully claims that the homosexual lifestyle is not sinful, stating, if you think being framed for murder is God's retribution for acts of love that some of his less enlightened children call crimes, then you just don't know him like I do. Yep, they love doing this, ladies and gentlemen. They sure love taking the Christian or Catholic or whatever message, the religious message, and twisting it. That's what they like to do. They love twisting it because they hate the religious message. They do. They hate it with such a passion that they love to any chance they get twist it and obviously lie about it and make up nonsense as they go along. Everybody knows that for most religious people, being homosexual is considered a sin, but they're going to try to twist it and make it seem as if it's not. This is Tim Sheridan spitting in the face of Christians, ascribing his sinful lifestyle behavior to morality and calling wickedness good in an attempt to manipulate young readers into these lifestyles. The book is rated 13+, which means DC Comics anticipates children will be reading this and falsely learning that trolling for gay prostitutes is good moral behavior. Yeah, well, that's the plan, right? That's what they want. They want to make sure that they can interject this into as many children as possible, because the more children that you can convince that this is normal, the more future victims that you're going to have to choose from, and that's exactly what these psychopaths want. They want absolutely easy victims that are going to be reliant on the system for the rest of their lives. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.